Question: how do you work with overly self-aware patients? So, hey, as a non-therapist individual, a long fostered curiosity of mine is to know, how does a therapist deal with patients with hyper self-awareness, like those who get exactly what their issues are and understand where the roots lie? What do you do with them? Do share your case here. So it sounds like this person intellectually knows things, but it's not actually embodied. From an EMDR perspective, that's where I would get really curious about, and that's where I work with my clients with, where a lot of them intellectually, they know a lot of these things of what they should do differently, what they need to stop, but they're still stuck in their patterns. And that's where I use EMDR psychotherapy as a way of kind of helping to resolve those little trauma bits that allows the person to do what they actually want to do. So that's how I work with someone who is very self-aware. Question: is it weird to feel like you don't deserve therapy? This person writes, I'm not going to put much here, but you can my history if you want, but I'm a bad person and people keep telling me to go to therapy, but I don't want to waste resources on something where someone in a worse predicament can get better help. This person states that they've tried therapy. I didn't really have a therapist that was right for me. I guess I didn't even open up. Is it weird to feel like you don't deserve therapy, don't need it? Is it weird? Well, I'd say it's actually more unhealthy. It sounds like there's a core belief system here that sounds like this core belief system is saying that I don't deserve good things or I don't deserve help. Something like that. This message most likely was learned somewhere along the way in your life from the minute that you were born. And therapy can really help with changing this belief system. Question: why is therapy not working? What various reasons come up if considering why a client may not be responding or benefiting from therapy, even if they really want the help? Is it usually just a part in protection mode? So there are many reasons why therapy may not be working. It can be that the therapy treatment isn't the best for that particular diagnosis or the reason why the client is coming into therapy. The client may not be fully honest or transparent during their sessions. The counselor may not have the area of expertise in why that person is coming to counseling. To a protector part of the personality who is trying to keep the client safe, even though the protector part is causing harm. From a bit of an EMDR perspective or a parts work perspective, is that these protector parts essentially are stuck in early childhood-like states, and they don't quite realize that they are all grown up and that they can make different choices now. Question: is it normal to ask for twice a week therapy sessions? Person writes, I started therapy in July to finally confront my childhood trauma. Right now, I'm going once a week. I struggle a lot with vulnerability and opening up to people, so starting therapy was terrifying for me. I bet it was. Each session feels like I'm spending half of it trying to calm myself down. By the time I feel a little bit more comfortable, we're almost done, and I have so much left unsaid that I wanted to talk about. I'm thinking of asking her to do twice a week, at least for now. I'm worried she won't think it would be necessary to do twice a week. I haven't gotten to the point where I feel safe enough to actually be open and honest with her. I also am able to talk about my trauma very easily, so I feel like I come across more okay than I am. I'm just trying to anticipate how she'll respond if I ask in our next session, or if it's even normal, if it's a normal thing to ask for. I'm sure I'm overthinking this more than I need, but any advice would be appreciated. What I'm going to say to this one is that it really can depend on the type of therapy that your counselor engages with and the modality that they use. Sometimes therapy twice a week can be really helpful if we're going through a really intense period in our lives. And sometimes it can be unhelpful if we're becoming really reliant on our therapist and we're not doing the exercises or homework in between sessions. So I would say, yes, talk to your therapist and have a conversation. I would start off your therapy session with this particular question so you have the good amount of time to unpack it, because they may have various questions about this. so they can make a more informed decision if it is the best fit to move to twice a week sessions. Question: sometimes when I remember occasions where I acted embarrassingly, I audibly tell myself to shut the F up, you stupid bee. What type modality of therapy should I seek? For clarification, this usually happens when I'm by myself, but if I remember an embarrassing situation or if a feeling of shame pops into my head, I get very agitated and will tell myself out loud to shut up and basically verbally abuse myself. I would really like help to get over this rumination of shame and embarrassment. My outbursts have slipped out a bit when I was around other people, and I'm just afraid of it getting worse. This is a really fabulous question. This person also writes, so I'm wondering what type of therapy would help me process these feelings. I've tried EMDR, but these are small occasions that weren't traumatic. They were just less than how I'd liked a situation to go. So I don't think EMDR is appropriate to work through those memories. If I'm not fully making sense, I'm happy to add anything that would make my situation more clear. Just ask. Okay, that's a really good question. So I would really say it's going to depend on the therapist. We're all going to have different therapy modalities. And without having like a full intake here and having a full history of your life, there's several things I'm thinking of. I am thinking EMDR and internal family systems, ego state work, acceptance and commitment therapy, and cognitive behavioral therapy could all be really helpful for you. The reason that I'm suggesting EMDR again is that there's a way that we're responding. So when we're thinking about a situation where it's really embarrassing for you, there's like this negative core belief that's really showing up, and that's kind of what I'm sensing right here. So potentially I am still thinking that EMDR could be a really good fit here. Question: is it normal to feel angry that we'll never be friends? And they're talking about their therapist. This bugs me every time our sessions finish. They're such an interesting person to me, and I wish I could know more about their life. I'm so angry that we'll never be able to hang out outside of the therapist-client dynamic, and one day their conversations will come to an end. They mention sometimes that I remind them of themselves when they were younger. I wish we could be friends in this lifetime, and I could offer them even the tiniest fraction of support they offered me. Love therapy, but this sucks. Therapist secret here: sometimes we wish we could have a friendship with our clients too. And it's normal to feel angry or sad that we can't have a friendship with them. It would be unethical to have a friendship afterwards because of the power imbalance and objectivity and more. And that's particularly more when we're living in large cities where we actually aren't crossing with each other all the time. So I would really encourage you to explore this with your therapist, because inherently a therapist relationship and a friend relationship, they are really two very different things. They're really not the same.